Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gururdevo Maheshwaraha Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Namaste everybody and welcome to this Introduction to Yoga video. It's my great honor and privilege to be presenting this video to you. Before I start, I would just like to remind you that my contact information would appear at the end of this recording, and it's also available in the description section below here. The description section, there are two of my websites, and you can go there and to the contact page and you can definitely send me messages. I will try my best to respond to your messages, I promise. So this is an introduction to yoga, and you may find as you watch this program that it is not exactly the yoga that is popular, that most people think yoga as an exercise system where people are doing, postures and breathing practices. I want to bring forward the real meaning of yoga in these series of broadcasts, and I hope I succeed in that. So let us start at the beginning. What is the meaning of the word yoga? And before I tell you the meaning, let me tell you what yoga does not mean. The word yoga does not mean flexibility. It does not mean exercise. It does not even mean good health. The word yoga actually literally means union or uniting with. Very interesting that it is called union. But the question is, uniting with what? And to really understand what is the union yoga is talking about, stretch your hand forward and look at the palm of your hand. And even if you try to hold it very steady, you'll notice that there are little twitches in the muscles, and your hand is trying to move, and it is also moving a little bit here and there. And if you look deeply enough, you will notice that this hand is actually alive. It is alive. And if, we use this word alive in a sentence like we know its real meaning, but the word alive has a very, very deep meaning. It is something very privileged and important to be alive. And this aliveness that you can notice in your hand, if you look deeply enough, is present in your whole body as well. In your heart. Right now your heart is beating. It is alive. Not just because of the muscular movements. There is an aspect of aliveness which we will explore more as we go on in this series. is to understand the deep meaning of this aliveness principle, if I may call it so. If you just close your eyes for a second and visualize your body inside, you will feel this aliveness in your whole body. And not just your whole body. That little spider in the corner is alive. And the millions and millions of teeming life around you. You don't know how many things are alive in this carpet right here. In the oceans, in the forests, in the deserts. All the millions of species of living things. They are all pulsing with the same aliveness principle. The union that yoga is talking about is uniting with that aliveness principle. Because a long time ago, we somehow got disconnected from that. And we are living a mechanical life, completely unaware that we are phenomenally alive beings. Now, uniting with the aliveness principle is just a bunch of words, and one may not really understand the deep meaning of it, and that is why you have a system of yoga. The system of yoga tries to bring you to that connection. You see, so yoga is not an exercise system or it's a breathing system. Those are all bonuses. You know, the third step of Ashtanga Yoga, which I will describe soon, is a complete set of exercises. The pranayamas are breathing practices which provide good health. It's a bonus. But that's not the goal of yoga. The goal of yoga is union. Just think about it. Why would a system be called union if it is referring to an exercise system? They could have called it vyayam or something, which is a word which means exercise. It is called union. So in this series of talks, I want to bring this aspect of yoga to you the way it used to be taught in India thousands of years ago. That is the way yoga was taught. Of course, yoga is commercialized nowadays. There are a lot of studios around the world teaching the exercise part of yoga, and that's fine. I have no problem with that, because that is also good for people. It gives them relief from stress, and gives them good health, improves their immune system, makes them happy, definitely. But it's a great thing to discover the deep meaning of yoga. And I salute all the yoga teachers who are there out there. Whatever yoga they are teaching, they are doing a great job. But I'm just setting out to explain the deeper meaning of yoga for the benefit of those who are already practicing yoga. So, I want to lay the foundation for this, and the foundation for understanding yoga, what else can it be except the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali? Around the year 300 BC, a great sage called Patanjali compiled yoga into a system called Ashtanga Yoga. Ashta in Sanskrit means 8, Anga means limbs. So 8-limbed yoga. Note that it says 8-limbed yoga and not 8-step yoga, because all the 8 limbs of yoga can be practiced simultaneously. You don't have to graduate from the first step to the second step to the third step. You can practice all of them together. Of course, one may not be ready to practice some of them, but in principle you can practice all of them. And the 8 limbs of Ashtanga Yoga are yama, moral disciplines, niyama, personal disciplines, asana, or the popular part of yoga which we all know, which is the exercises, the postures, the beautiful postures. It's a very huge part of Ashtanga Yoga. Pranayama, breathing practices, which I will discuss in detail in one of the future lessons. Pratyahara, which is turning the senses inward. Dharana, or concentration. Dhyana, better known as meditation. And Samadhi. Samadhi is the state of union that the word yoga means. When you achieve that state of union, that is called Samadhi. So you see, the eighth limb is Samadhi. It's the goal of yoga. It's not really a limb as such, it is a goal. Samadhi is the goal. It's a state of perfect peace and union with your aliveness principle. The same aliveness principle that is throbbing in you at this moment as you are listening to this audio and video. Without this aliveness, you would not be able to understand or listen to this. The discovery of this aliveness principle has been described as an event of cosmic proportions. And many great sages have achieved this state, and they have told people that if you want total peace and freedom from your problems, this is the only sure state for you. So let us elaborate the 8 limbs in a little more detail. And I will start with the yama. The yamas are 5 in number. These are the moral disciplines. See, why does yoga start with moral discipline? Because the purpose of yoga is not just to make a person into a yogi, but make him into a compassionate yogi. It's very important. And the niyamas are the personal disciplines, which are, you follow certain disciplines. In life we follow certain disciplines like punctuality and so on, right? So these are 5 ethical disciplines, personal disciplines. And the great doyen of yoga, B.K.S. Iyengar, in his book Light on Yoga, says that asanas, which are the postures, practiced without yama and niyama, are mere acrobatics. And we should understand that very well, because yoga strongly believes that when you teach yoga, you have to be a compassionate teacher. You have to have love for all living things. Otherwise you cannot be a true yogi. That's why it starts with yama. There are 5 yamas. Ahimsa, which you know, Mahatma Gandhi used to practice. Non-violence. Non-violence is a very broad term which talks about not being violent in action and in thought towards any living thing. Not having thoughts of hurting somebody, or having compassion for people. Then comes brahmacharya, or non-lust, not having lusty thoughts. Ashteya, or non-stealing, which means don't take what is not yours. Aparigraha, a very powerful yama, non-greed. Don't be greedy. Don't try to accumulate things. And this also means, taking things away from this earth. Don't steal things from this earth and accumulate things. Just take what you need. Don't take what you want. Because we want a lot of things. And the 5th yama is satya, or speaking the truth. Speaking the truth does not just mean not telling lies. It also means being forthright with people, being straightforward with people. Don't play tricks with human beings. So these are the 5 yamas. And you have to practice this to become a real yogi. And if you are a yoga teacher, the way you practice yamas is by looking at your students with love and compassion, and try to understand them when they come to you with a problem. Spend some time to serve them and to help them, because this will build inner strength within you and make you into a loved yogi. Everybody will love your class and everybody will love you. The niyamas are personal disciplines, starting with shaucha, which is cleanliness. Physical cleanliness, that means have a bath, wear good clothes, remain neat and clean, and also mental cleanliness. If dirty thoughts come, just leave them aside. Have clean thoughts. Then comes tapas. Tapas is austerity. Don't be extravagant. Be simple in your life. Don't overspend and live extravagantly. Try to be austere. Tapas. Then comes swadhyaya, which means self-study. We study a lot of mathematics, physics, and politics, and so many things. But do we ask the question, why am I here on this earth? Swadhyaya means to find out about yourself and the purpose of your life through studying the scriptures. Study the works of the great masters. The scriptures, any scripture, all the scriptures are great. They always preach love, compassion, and purpose in life, and human values. Try to develop these through swadhyaya, through studying, self-study. Then comes my favorite niyama, santosha. Santosha means contentment. It's such a beautiful term. Contentment simply means to be content with what you have and stop complaining all the time. It's a very difficult thing to practice because it tends to give an impression that you should just lead a passive life and accept whatever comes. No, that's not what contentment means. Contentment means to always try to count your blessings first, and then find out about the things that you don't have and try to work towards getting them. But don't live your life continuously complaining about things, because you already have so many things. You have this beautiful body which is taking care of itself most of the time. The last one is Ishvara Pranidhanam, literally translated as surrender to God. In Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, Patanjali writes that Ishvara Pranidhanam can be attained by connecting this intellect that is here to the higher intellect. The act of Ishvara Pranidhanam is the connecting of your intellect with the higher intellect, which is also, you see the word union comes there also. It is the uniting of your intellect with the big intellect. And when that happens, your life moves in a very smooth way. Very beautifully your life moves. It's not that everything goes well, it just means that there is a kind of satisfaction with everything. And there is a different view of things. William James, the great philosopher, said that the greatest discovery of my generation is that a man can change his life by changing his attitude. And this is a great discovery. Yoga is trying to change you from the inside, not trying to change whatever is around you, because that is almost an impossible task, as time has shown that it is impossible to change everything around you. But you can change yourself through the practice of the 8 limbs of yoga. So it is very important that you try to practice all the limbs of yoga, including asanas, pranayama, and then after that comes the 3 steps, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, which are the internalization processes. In my opinion, the most critical part of yoga is the internalization. You notice yamas is about dealing with the world around you. Non-violence, this is all dealing with the world. Personal disciplines is dealing with your body and, again dealing with the world to a great extent. Asanas are dealing with your body. Pranayama is dealing with your breath and body again. And then there is the bridge to pratyahara. Pratyahara is internalization. Shut out the world for some time and look inside. Look inside to see, examine and investigate the internal environment inside your body. We will go through this in more detail as we progress. This is just an introduction. And then comes the process of meditation, which is the most supreme practice that you can do. The word practice doesn't even apply to meditation. Meditation is to find out your true nature, which is called Chaitanya. In Vedanta it is also called Satchitananda. Sat Chit Ananda is made up of 3 words. Sat is existence. If I ask in a group of people, how many of you exist? Everybody would raise their hands. Chit means consciousness or awareness of things. Once again, in an audience, if I ask how many of you are conscious or aware, everybody would raise their hands. The third part of Satchidananda is Ananda, which means bliss. Not just little happiness, bliss. Bliss is like extreme joy. A joy that will bring tears to your eyes. If I ask in a group of people, how many of you are blissful or in extreme joy, how many of us are going to raise our hands? Very few. So Sat Chit Ananda, we are yet to discover the Ananda part, which we somehow got disconnected from over millennia of human evolution, because we got so much embroiled in worldly affairs and all these, what we call samsara. So the goal of yoga is to unite you back with that source of happiness that is nowhere else except inside you. And we will explore this in all the future classes. We will also probably do some asanas, and we will do some breathing practices, we will do some relaxation, meditation and so on. And I will also be talking about various topics in Ashtanga Yoga, so that we can lay a strong foundation for your practice of yoga. This is for you, this is about you, and I am just going out with these videos to help you people, because I have benefited a lot from yoga, from 12 years of teaching yoga and practicing yoga, and I just want to share my joy with you, and that's why I'm doing these videos. Namaste everybody. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.